Thank you. A very warm good evening to all of you and welcome to the Sparks session. This is our 36th Sparks session, which was also called Insight View series earlier. We've rebranded it to Sparks. Essentially, we bring you, best speakers across the globe in India, so you can get to learn and spend your Friday just before the weekend learning a bit of something new every fortnight, right? And that's our goal from the club. My name is Suraj Salim, and I'm the president of the Advertising Club of Madras. I have Umanath here, who is the vice president of the Advertising Club of Madras as well. And I am the co-founder of Digitally Inspired Media, and Umanath is the co-founder and editor of Media News for You, a very well-known publishing firm based out of India. So once again, thank you so much for coming in on a Friday evening and just before the weekend. Before I introduce the speaker to you, I'd like to also let you know that the Advertising Club of Madras has multiple activities, and this being one of them. We also have next week we have an Elevate, which is a workshop where we're bringing Senthil Kumar, who is the ex-CCO of VML India, to Chennai. For all of you, the session will be held at Sorted Cafe, where he's going to talk about how to write winning entries, and he is popularly known as the Lion Hunter of India because he got India's first Cannes Lions in a specific category in the past, right? So we're bringing him to you for a workshop. That'll be a 2-hour workshop. We are having a couple of other sessions through the month and through the rest of the year. So would urge you all to become a member as soon as you can to reap the benefits. Most importantly, we have launched our Maddies, which is our flagship annual advertising awards, which is going to happen in July of 26. But the early bird call for entries have started on 2nd March, and the first deadline is on 18th March. So if you'd like to use the best of to use the early bird offer, please go ahead and do that before 18th March. And we've got some amazing categories that are meeting global standards at this point. So yes, and let me introduce you to Senthil. Senthil Kumar Hariram is an entrepreneur, search engineering strategist, and digital transformation leader with nearly 20 years of experience in scaling brands and building high-performance teams. As the founder and managing director of FTA Global, he focuses on reshaping the agency model by integrating outcome-driven, AI-enabled growth teams within brands to deliver measurable business results at scale. He founded FTA Global in 2025. His expertise spans performance marketing, scalable SEO systems, AI-led marketing transformation, product-led growth, and brand storytelling. He has introduced industry concepts such as Quant SEO and the AI Citation Score (AICS) frameworks designed to advance how search visibility and content authority are evaluated and optimized. I thank you, Senthil, for taking the time out to share a lot of your knowledge and experience with our members and non-members. And for all of you, this is going to be an interesting session. Senthil and I had a chat last evening, and he's done some great work for some really large clients. I think you all will get to experience that today. Over to you, Senthil.
Yeah, thank you, Suresh, and thank you, team, for giving this opportunity for us. And I'd like to especially call out all the attendees to participate on a Friday evening. Thank God it's Friday, and good to see that you wanted to invest the time here rather than being in a bar. So good. So let's get started. I'll just share my screen, and we'll get started right away. Let me know if you can see it.
All good.
Good. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So to give you a quick background about me, so yes, and by the way, thanks for the detailed introduction, Suraj, for about me. So I've been doing SEO for quite a long time. It's been like almost 22, 23 years. Ever since, Google used to have run ads, you see the search results, right side, there will be ads and then 10 blue links. Those were the golden era of ranking because it's very easy at that time to rank a website. There was not much disturbance at that time. I think it was Marissa Mayer of Google who designed that Google page and it looked very clean, right? But over the period of years, as you know, Google has become more and more advertisement oriented. And of course, investor thing will be there. And right now, what you see Google is completely different of how it used to be. I'm referring to the search results, not the company as such. So over the last 2 decades, most of the marketing teams that I've worked with, they optimize for just one thing, which is to improve the visibility in the search results, right? Like rank a website, get more clicks, and then those clicks transform into traffic to a website. And then obviously that traffic will convert further. If you are a publisher, the more traffic you get, the more advertisement revenue you can earn, and stuff like that. But over the last 3 years specifically, ever since ChatGPT was launched and it was made available, the LLMs were made available to the mass audience, something fundamental has been changing. Now, today, these AI systems, they're just answering the questions before even somebody visits the website, right? Which means the battle for visibility is no longer happening, only on the search results. It is happening even in the knowledge systems, aka the ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all these LLM systems. Now, this shift is making us all, in the marketing industry to rethink like how's the entire marketing stack now will change now, and that is exactly what we'll be exploring today. I'm planning to get this session about 40 minutes. So in case I also have reserved some time slot for the for some of the questions as well. So feel free to put in your questions in the chat as well then and there, so that we don't miss out on the flow. Now, right. So before we talk about optimization, SEO, search engineering, and stuff, so we need to understand where the discovery is actually happening today, right? Now, the interesting fact is, over the last 2 decades that I've been doing SEO, people used to say SEO is dead. Every time Google makes a major update, they used to say SEO is dead. But so far, SEO has been standing the test of time. So much so that even recently, OpenAI has hired an SEO specialist for almost $300,000. Perplexity, they are hiring, and Anthropic. All these platforms, even though they claimed to be replacements for Google, but it's not happening, right? Mostly the people are still looking at the power of SEO, that is search engine optimization, that is optimizing your website to rank higher on Google, and organically you get more traffic. Now, in this session, I'm going to be mostly focusing on two. One is Google, another one is ChatGPT, for the simple reason that globally, Google has almost 89% market share when it comes to the search engine. In India, it is almost 97%. So ChatGPT is, globally, when it comes to the LLMs, ChatGPT is the number one right now. And even in India, it's the biggest market for ChatGPT. So for the sake of this session, I've only picked up these two. But having said that, even others have been making a lot of strides in terms of, in terms of the usage. Now, if you look at Google, right, Google alone processes nearly 14 billion searches per day. No, that's per day, not per month or per year. 14 billion searches per day. And the broader search ecosystem itself, it is processing almost trillions of searches every year. Now, this infrastructure, right, this still powers, a huge volume of people that are spending their time online. In fact, so much so that people, Google has become the gateway for the internet itself, right? So you cannot imagine an internet without Google. It has been the most used or most visited site on the planet. Now, what happened was something new started happening alongside Google. Now, people are increasingly asking questions directly to the AI systems like ChatGPT and assistants. And ChatGPT alone is estimated that they get 2.5 billion prompts per day. This data is coming directly from OpenAI's team. So the entire ecosystem of AI agents across the board, they are probably, it may be more as well with regards to the number of prompts that people are making or doing on these LLMs. Now, the most important point I want to drive here is it's not that AI is replacing the search, it's just that the discovery is now happening across different environments. Like users search on Google and then they ask questions on AI systems as a supplementary aspect. And this means now the brands need a new visibility layer in both places, because traditionally we are used to optimize a website for Google and it's all done, and then you get traffic back and stuff. But now there is another discovery layer which is also happening. So suddenly now people are trying to pay more attention towards that. Now, apart from ChatGPT, obviously the few others, surprisingly, DeepSeek, is the second most used, and then Gemini recently they have been getting a lot of traction. In fact, this data is as of 2025, but recently this Gemini has been the adoption rate has been quite high as well. And obviously, Perplexity, thanks to Airtel in India, they brought in the Pro version, and there has been quite a bit of bump in Perplexity also. And they've been also focusing on a lot of automations and stuff. Recently, they launched Perplexity Computer, which is a complete. They are saying it's a complete automation, thing, but we have to test it out. And obviously Claude, which is mostly focusing on enterprise grade data analytics and stuff. So, but clearly ChatGPT is leading the way. So what we did was we look into two different sources here, right? One is Google, another is ChatGPT. So let's try to ask the same question, like here in this example, what are the best project management tools, right? On the left side, in Google, the traditional way is that you ask a question and then the search engine will return a list, right? Like different websites, articles, opinions, videos, and then the user decides which one to click, right? And then that's how the discovery has been over the last 20 years. That's how it used to happen. But now, when you look into the right side, the ChatGPT interface, the same question asked into an AI system, instead of giving you 10 links, the system has automatically generated an answer. And this has analyzed the information. If you can see there, the screenshots of the tool, how it looks like, it's added there. And inside this answer is where whether the tool or the product or the brand getting mentioned, all these are decided. Now, in search, the user chose the result, right? But in AI answer, the algorithm is choosing the answer that you have to read. Now, this means the visibility is no longer about just ranking pages on Google and all. It is about whether your brand is even becoming part of that knowledge base, and then is it present on the answer itself. Now, chances are in that answer, are you being portrayed positively or negatively? That is also another thing that the brands have to look at. So, it was so simple before, but now it is becoming a bit complex because when people, before they even click on this result, the answer is given. So we don't know what is happening inside the system because this whole ChatGPT or Perplexity, all these are black box. There is nobody has cracked the formula on how to get featured over there. There are a lot of signals that we marketers are learning based on our experience, but there is no real-time analysis or analytics, I would say, that is available from these tools. Now let's look at how the decision journey also happens, right? Because in traditional search, like I explained, the user clicks a result, visits a page, a website, and then they evaluate the brand, right? And then they may go back to Google, then they will continue their search, and that's how typically the journey continues, right? This is a typical buyer journey in the internet, right? So now when that comes to the AI discovery, after the answer has been generated, now inside the answer, once these tools are being mentioned, the moment of this influence is moving like even before the click. For example, in traditional search, the influence happens after the click. From a brand perspective, you can influence the user by showing a nice website, a nice landing page, giving your offer, and then your clientele. If you're a B2B, showcasing your clientele, or if you're an e-commerce store, showcasing your products, reviews, pricing, and stuff. But all these currently, when more people are using AI as a discovery engine, there is less control on it, right? And then even there, the moment of influence is shifting before even before the user decides to click on that result, right? They are actually learning more within the AI interface itself. Now, this creates a completely new visibility problem, like I was saying before, right? Why it is a visibility problem is because the measurement itself changes. Now, the marketing teams traditionally what they do is that we track the rankings of keywords. When there are like 10 keywords ranking in top three, we can be rest assured that, okay, these keywords, when we are ranking, people click on the results, they come to our website. And if you're a news website, you know that in the news section, you are being present and then people click, you come to our website as a traffic. And then we track the click-through rates, the CTRs basically, and then the conversions in terms of the revenue. So all our dashboards traditionally are built around this layer of the journey only, be it Google Analytics, or even if you are using customized dashboards like Looker Studio or Power BI. Mostly how it has been worked is you track the rankings, traffic, click-through rate, revenue, which page you has been converting well, and all those metrics. But if all these are fine if the influence is happening after the click. But if the influence now, if it's happening before the click, right, like the AI case in this example, a new visibility layer starts happening. Now, most companies, they have no insight, absolutely not much insight on which kind of prompts are they appearing. They don't know where their brand appears in the answer, whether they are mentioned positively, whether they are being recommended or not. They don't know which sources that these systems are relying on, because every time these systems are using multiple different sources to collect the answer and then give it to the user. And they don't know whether this new discovery layer is even affecting their revenue. There is a very mild traffic that comes out of ChatGPT, and then through analytics you can still track that, okay, there is a small portion of traffic coming in. We've been working with quite a lot of brands. What we have noticed is almost like 1 to 1.5% traffic is what max that these LLMs are referring to the website. And Google is like it's at the top, right? Of course, if you're not running the ads, if you're running the ads, then obviously the various other platforms will drive traffic like Meta and all. But when you look at the organic wing, so Google always gives you more than 90% of the referral traffic when it comes to the organic side. But AI systems, these LLMs, what is happening is people are reading the answer, but they are not clicking the result. So only hardly they click on some of the products and stuff if they want to learn more about the brand. So this particular challenge is something which creates a measurement issue on how to measure whether your brand is visible or not, right? Because you don't know this new, whether it is affecting your traffic or the revenue. There's not much insight into that. So to keep it a bit simple, marketing teams used to measure traffic, but they cannot see the decision that is happening after the click, before the click. So this is exactly why a new discipline is starting to emerge. Now we call it as search engineering. Now there are a lot of names suddenly got popped up, right? Traditionally it used to be just SEO, but then people started talking about GEO, which is generative engine optimization, and then LLM optimization, AEO, answer engine. Like that, there are a lot of terminologies that got created. But the fundamental fact is all these systems are relying on search. Still, if you test ChatGPT and all, if you type which is the best software, which is the best CRM for 2026, it triggers a live search, right? So even they are doing a live search only. So it's not like suddenly you can influence an LLM for a particular answer. So that's why we have looked at as a discipline called search engineering, right? Why search engineering? Because search engineering is a practice of designing the systems that can help you get featured or influencing the search engines, influencing these AI models, and discovering, evaluating, and recommending the brands. How to do that. This is something which we have termed it as search engineering. Now this combines multiple capabilities. Now 80% of the search engineering activity is on technical SEO, right? It combines technical SEO content, that is that's the meat of the entire capability, and then the knowledge signals, digital PR, the data science, the prompt analysis. All these are combined into what we are calling it as search engineering. So the goal for search engineering is not just ranking the pages. So the goal is to become, how do we make a brand a trusted source in the knowledge system? That is what the goal for search engineering. Now, to understand this better, let's look at what search engineering stack looks like, right? So everything of the search engineering stack, it starts with the brand strategy itself. First of all, you as a brand, how are you positioning it? If your positioning is unclear, then nothing below this works, right? First thing is to having a clear cut thing on what exactly your brand stands for, what is your positioning, and then comes the content infrastructure based on how you have positioned your brand, right? This is a very important piece, because this content infrastructure only decides how exactly you are being presented in the LLMs. Let's say, for example, if your brand is having a lot of positive reviews, or if they are having a lot of negative reviews. So what happens is, the more a particular LLM is consuming a lot of negative content about the particular brand, then chances are, even in the results, even if your brand is getting featured, the LLM may give a warning to the user that we have seen a lot of negative reviews, and then that is not a good a good thing for a brand. And the second thing is, if you are positioning yourself, be very clear whether you are let's say, even for us, we are very clear that FTA is a search engineering company. Now, of course, we do offer performance, creative, all the things, but basically the brand positioning is very clear. It's a search engineering company. That's about it. Everything else can be covered, but that's the thing. Now, this content infrastructure, it's not about creating some random blogs, right? But because people think content infrastructure, content means it is only blogs. It is not. It is the structured knowledge ecosystem across the. It's not only in your website, but across the web. What people are talking about your brand. Now, that is what boils down to next thing called authority and the citations. Now, this includes digital PR, reference across trusted sources. So if you look at it now, if any one of you have tried getting featured on Wikipedia, right, it's very, very difficult, right? Because Wikipedia only features brands which are having a trustable metric, like they have a lot of media coverage, they are trusted across a lot of sources, then only it will be like some people, they need to be a celebrity to be featured in Wikipedia. So also similarly, even these LLMs, they look at a specific authority, whether the brand has that authority, trust signals, to make it more credible. And then only we reach the next layer of search engines, where this is where the traditional SEO operates, right? Where link building, technical SEO, and all these things. But below this layer now sits something called the AI answer engines. Now, this is where the ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, all these LLM optimization tactics come into picture. Now, if you look at search engineering, it's like influencing the entire stack that is listed here, like how your brand is positioned, how it is being mentioned in the web, and how the authority signals are there, and then the traditional SEO tactics combined together is what we are looking at search engineering. So that when an algorithm is generating an answer, right, when a user asks a question and when these LLMs are generating the answer, your brand becomes one of the sources that these LLMs trust. So the question becomes like, how do you actually build this capability, right? Because it's easier said than done, right? Because building this capability inside a marketing organization is quite crucial. Now, this is how the new marketing stack is emerging. Now, once the the discovery systems are changing, once the marketing stack is also evolving, the traditional way of working, like this used to work in silos, by the way. Like you have a paid media team, SEO team, content team, social media, PR, etc. Now, each of these functions, they are operating like in silos separately, right? And their focus is usually a short-term performance. But in the AI-driven environments, it has to be becoming a more systematic and more unified kind of an approach. Because, like I said in my previous slide, it all starts with the brand, and then how the brand's content infrastructure is being presented, and the like. Right? So you need the brand strategy, the structured content infrastructure, everything to be working together. Instead of like, so you need to approach it not like running a campaign, like how brand teams used to do. They run a campaign, for a specific quarter, and then they forget about it. They move on to the next campaign. But this kind of campaign specific way of marketing is going to change. And now it will be becoming more about building the complete discovery infrastructure together. So this is not going to affect just an SEO team or a paid team. This is like put together everywhere, be it the digital PR team, the content team. Everybody have to work closely. There is no longer segregation of brand team works in separate way, and then marketing team, sales team, they all work in a different angle. That's not going to work in the coming future, because all these together only plays a role. For example, if your operation team sucks and for your service industry, and your clients are leaving a lot of negative review, now that is indirectly going to affect, traditionally they say OR, right, online reputation management. So that also suddenly becomes even more important when it comes to these tactics. So in a nutshell, if you ask me, marketing is moving away from campaign level execution to more compounding discoverability, sorry, kind of ecosystem. So this raises an important organization level question also, like how do companies structure? Does it mean that suddenly we have to bring some new set of people into the company and all? Now that may not be the case, because traditional organization in marketing, like we were discussing before, it has a SEO team, paid content, and all. But inside a search engineering organization, now what happens is the each team is optimizing its own channel, right? Previously, in the traditional sense, but in the discovery systems, they do not work like channel specific. They work like across the web. Let's say a content plan that includes how the content is being presented in the website, and then in your ad campaigns, and then your social media, and then what is the distribution strategy for the same. Because content production right now, it has becoming more and more easier because AI assistance is being used more. Previously it used to be difficult. The content people, they used to do a lot of research on their own, and then when they write the content, in fact 80% of the time of a content writer is usually spent in research, right? But now these AI assistants have taken away that research layer completely, right? So what do they write about a particular brand? That has become easier, but the distribution part of that content has become the center point, because that discovery is how the authority building, the knowledge graphs are nothing but in Google. If you search any of the bigger companies, like maybe for example HCL Technologies or Wipro, so on the right side you will see the entire details of the company in terms of what is their revenue, who's their CEO, and all these details. So these are knowledge graphs. That means these are trustable entities. Now, how do we build a brand as a trustable entity rather than approaching the brand like a campaign, right? Rather building it as a long-term way, and then building more citations, structuring the information. All these come together, which means the marketing teams need to start thinking it like a engineering, right? Like a system engineers, rather than just looking at it like a management kind of a thing. Because traditionally, marketers what tend to do is they appear as a managing kind of a thing. Rather, we should shift it towards more engineering aspect in terms of systems engineering, systems thinking. That is how the marketers evolution is going to happen. So the brand that then will not be just running the campaigns in this search ecosystem. They will be the ones which are focusing on engineering the visibility, the discoverability. So through this content and authority building and stuff like that. Now, this raises an important question, like if AI systems are generating the answers, right? Now, how do they decide which brand to recommend, right? The reality is that these AI models, they are not inventing the information, right? If you take a step back and realize how these AI models are working, they are basically scrapping the data from the web, from the free web, and then they are understanding what is the meaning of a specific word. They are understanding the meaning, and then word to word probability, they are generating the answers. So basically they are not inventing any new information. They are simply, this LLM is as good as the internet. That's it. So the moment the content writers, the real creative thinkers, it stops, then these AI models creativity also will take a downturn, because it is only as good as what data that it is learning. So this synthesized knowledge, right, from signals across the web, like the content authority, citations, like that I was just explaining in the previous slide. Now, the brand mentions that are across the web, like say, for example, the brand on your website, right? What exactly the service you're offering or product that you have. And then Wikipedia placement becomes very crucial. And then the next thing is quite famous, Reddit. So much so that a lot of people are getting banned in Reddit because people are spamming it nowadays. But what used to be is that these Reddit, Quora, all these are user-generated content, and the more users are giving their opinions for the questions, those are the places where it's like a hot cake for these LLM, these AI systems to learn, right? So be it on Reddit, and then news, and then the research materials, and then the community building, brands with larger communities. So these are all the ones which will have an edge when it comes to getting visible on these LLMs. So now when your brand is having all these areas covered, right, then automatically your brand will start appearing inside these LLM answers. So search engineering is about influencing these signals, right, systematically. Now, the only difference from, I said search engineering 80% is SEO. Now, what is the remaining 20% new is that now traditionally SEOs, they focused on, okay, I'll create a blog and then I'll do backlinks and then I'll ensure the content is being discovered on Google, so that more and more links I build and refresh, internal linking, and then the more rankings will improve. That's how traditionally it was approached. But here in the LLM specific perspective, everything aligns into a system. Like you need to learn about your brand. You need to ensure that the brand has becoming like an entity where you are being promoted on the news, you are present in the Wikipedia and all these other places. So suddenly this has become a more bigger game than what SEOs tend to do, right? And this is why we are calling it as engineering your presence rather than simply saying optimization. Because in SEO, it says search engine optimization, right? You're only optimizing it. It's like a building is already built, and then the interior designer goes and optimizes the place, right? But an engineer is the one who's actually building the structure and ensuring the building is safe, right? So that is why we even came up with this as it should be search engineering your way towards the visibility. Now, from this search engineering perspective, we are looking at it like how do we make it as a flywheel? Because if you know the definition of a flywheel, right? So what the flywheel does is the more it keeps rotating, the more it keeps saving the energy, and then when you turn off the power, it will still continue to rotate, right? So a flywheel is something which continues giving power even when your source power goes down. It saves the energy and then keeps building it up, building the momentum. Now this is how brands can influence the AI system systematically. Because whatever we discussed so far, it's not like okay, one time I'm doing this and then forgetting. It's not like that, because these AI systems, they rely on freshness, and how these brands are influencing these systems in a more systematic way rather than a one-off kind of a thing. That's the reason I said marketing is no longer about campaign kind of a thing where you do a campaign, forget, and then move to the next campaign. But this is more engineering the visibility in a consistent way. And it all starts with the structured content itself, the content infrastructure. That is the main backbone for this entire thing. Now, this content, if it is really good, then it will naturally earn an authority, either through digital PR or through citations. The other blogs or other websites may mention your brand or link to your particular content. For example, let's say we are releasing one industry study saying that maybe in Chennai, 70% engineers, they're all opting for maybe ECE, mechanical, or something like that. I'm saying this as an example, some studies there. Now, when that interesting study is published, naturally what happens is the news channels, they may pick it up, they may promote, they may include it in their articles. So what happens is naturally, and whenever a news channel is is using your data, they need to give a source that where the source is coming from, right? And naturally your brand gets mentioned. So these kind of content generating, which creates with earns an authority, through these PR, through these news and site and trusted sources, this becomes like the best way, the most safest and best possible way to get a lot of traction, be it on Google or be it on any discovery engine in the future. This becomes the core. Now, these mentions, they strengthen the entity signals, right? This is where more and more trust can be made. Like, okay, this article is quite famous. So these LLMs will understand and they will also take the content and use it. Whenever a user is asking a question, it may mention that as per this brand, this is what the result of the survey or whatever. So when these signals are aligning, right, the AI system, they gain confidence in the brand. When they are consistently seeing your brand getting mentioned, getting featured everywhere, now naturally you become a confident layer for these LLM systems to rank. Now, traditionally, this is what SEOs were supposed to do, right? To build a good quality or get a lot of create a content which gets a lot of traction. But unfortunately, what happens is just like people tend to always try to find a easier route. So people tend to buy backlinks, and then they started doing all the black hat tactics that we call it, and that is something where it went into a different way. Actually, whatever I just told you about a content which earns PR, citation, and all, that is what actually SEOs are supposed to do, right? Now, when the brand, now coming to this, now when the brand is becoming more and more, featured across the board, imagine, Times of India, NDTV, everybody talking about or using that particular research and they're talking about it. Now automatically the trustable factor goes high, because when a lot of news sources are mentioning your brand, it becomes a trusted source. And this ensures that your visibility also improves in the search results through mentions, more citations, more authority, and this creates a flywheel kind of an effect, where the more and more you're getting featured, the more and more you're also going to be visible on these LLM systems. So the brands that will win these systems are not going to win just by optimizing a bunch of things, right? Like, okay, I have a good title tag, I have this. So it's not going to operate based on some 5 6 line items. It's going to operate like a flywheel. Like how much your brand is getting featured, the more your visibility is also going to improve. Now that is why we call it as a search engineering flywheel. So more visibility, it means more mentions, and that means more better and stronger authority. Now let's look at a practical way, right? So imagine, the a user asks an AI question like this, like what is a best project management tool for startups? Now the AI system is generating an answer, right? It's not a random answer. If you notice, it is synthesizing the answer from the web. It is not only taking a website, okay, here is Asana, the number one project management tool. It's not saying straight away with that. It's showing how the tool looks like, the product reviews. If you see on the right side, all these are the sources that, in this example, ChatGPT has used to collect the information. And strangely, when I clicked on the first result, when I read it, the entire article was about Asana. And naturally, what happened was, when Asana is present across like a lot of places, people are adding their product reviews, industry articles are there, some research reports. Asana used to release some reports about how the adoption of project management system is improving, this and that. And then the knowledge bases that they offer, they would have created a lot of project management templates, this and that. So when a particular brand is getting featured on a lot of places, now what happens is this brand consistently starts appearing in the AI answers also. So it's quite important that we engineer the way, into these kind of sources that the AI systems trust. Now, this doesn't mean suddenly we have to go and start building backlinks. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is identifying which sources are LLMs trusting in your industry first, and then see if you can create those partnerships with those brands, so that there is a high chance that you may get featured. It's not a guarantee that once your name is there, you will be featured there. It's not, there is no guarantee in that. Just that if AI systems are consistently seeing your brand on multiple sources that are talking about, in this case, project management, then naturally your brand, there is a very high chance of ranking above. Surprisingly, Jira, Trello, they are also there, but mostly since Asana was having a lot of coverage, so they started appearing in the as number one. Of course, number two, number three has Trello, Jira, and others. But that's the way it is. How to build that trust. Now, some of the brands, they are also invisible, right? So here is a competitive, realization, right? Imagine a buyer asks an AI a question like, which is the best LLM optimization company in India? Now, whatever the AI is generating the answer, now it lists the brand that it trusts a lot and recognizes it quite often. Now, in this example, our company FTA Global, we get mentioned, but this is not the only query. Sorry. Yeah. So what happens is, based on your history of the chat, and based on if you are a digital marketer, if you are consistently searching about LLM optimization and stuff, so the system automatically knows that, okay, you are a user who is into digital marketing field. If you are a more technical person, so accordingly that kind of companies will get featured. Now if you are a newbie and you are brand new and searching for it, at that time your results may vary. So that's the reason, if I search something and you search the same on your chat GPT or perplexity, the answers are higher chance that they may differ. So in this example now, when FTA Global, when it gets mentioned, now what happens is, there is a referral traffic, not just referral traffic, but the brand gets recognized. So and then when a typical journey is that this person gets into Google, searches about the brand, and then gets it. So if your brand is not appearing in these answers, then the user may never even discover you in the first place. Now, this is the new visibility gap that we were talking about. Now, the brands are no longer competing for the rankings. Traditionally, in Google, we used to compete for, am I ranking in the top three, top two, right? We're always competing for the same. One second, is my screen still visible? Just quickly check again. Okay, I hope
Yes, it is visible with many brands are invisible in AI.
Yeah.
Answers.
Yes. Okay. Now, I just got an alert something. Okay, I think it's a different thing. All right. Yeah. So yes, so it's not about generating a random blog or something, but it's important that your brand needs to be inside this answer. Now, how we come to know about this, right? Because when we see that there is a small portion now, when I was checking in, this is a personal experience, right? Um, Over the last 2 3 months, our we used to get a lot of leads, and those leads, what happened was they were straight away asking about. They already have done their due diligence about the company. They already know what we're offering and stuff like that. And we were also surprised when we checked on the. We used to look at the way we have some tools, right? There are certain tools which we can measure. It's called Microsoft Clarity, where a recording will be available of what the user is doing on the website. Now, surprisingly, what we saw was a lot of leads. They are coming to the website, they are just filling the form, or they are booking the meeting. And those are all good companies. They are not like some spammy people who just keep filling the forms, right? And then when we looked at analytics, we saw that we are getting a lot of traffic from the LLMs. So a lot of people are clicking, they are reading more of our blogs, and then they are also understanding about the brand, and then they are straight away converting. So in fact, right now, 10% of our business comes from ChatGPT referrals. So, but the traffic is very less, right? It's like hardly 2% or 3%. But when they come to the website, mostly it converts. And that is something which we see as a competitive advantage. So, same happens for a lot of other players also in the industry. I've heard the same thing. So, being absent in these answers is the new form of being invisible, right? Again, it's a long way to go. Still, a lot of adoption rate when it increases. So this will become like a competitive advantage for the brands. So now that okay, we looked at how the AI systems work, which sources they are doing. Now, what next? What are the pillars for this AI visibility? So, in our experience, what we have seen is there is only four major things. Like I said, content infrastructure. By content infrastructure, I mean not creating random blogs, but more structured topical ecosystems. Now, one example which I can tell you is if you have looked at the website Grow, right? They have covered almost every topic related to stock market investment and stuff. That's the reason you will see Grow on a lot of places. Anything that you search Grow related to stock market, Grow's website, their blog will be appearing, right? So that is one of the way of creating that topical authority, right, in the web. The second thing is once this topical authority is being created, once the content infrastructure is set, the second thing is focusing on how do we build the authority and the digital PR through the content infrastructure that we have created, right? So much so that every content that you create, we need to the one single question you need to ask is it really helpful for the user? Is there something, and is it helpful for the user so much so that will they share it in their website or in their WhatsApp group or Telegram group, whatever it is, will they use this information and share it there? Now, this is where these systems are relying heavily on trusted sources, right, across it. The third thing is the entity and the knowledge signals. Now, the brands must clearly exist within the knowledge graph. So, what do we mean by this knowledge graph existence? Is that if your brand has a social channel, ensuring that the proper, what you want your brand to be positioned, it needs to be properly added, be it in your on your Facebook, Instagram, or your YouTube channel, or wherever your brand is going to be present on Substack or LinkedIn. So, ensuring that there is a cohesive way of a brand positioning across the board, and also wherever possible understand all the try to monitor the brand's mentions across the web, collect all those references. Suppose your brand has recently got a funding, or your brand is something which has been covered on the news. Maybe you have invented something new or some new launch, something like that, that has got a lot of coverage in the news. Now collect all those things, make it as a proper database, and then as much as possible try to get featured into Wikipedia, because when you're adding your brand on Wiki, they will need a lot of trustable sources. Only then they will even approve it, right? And once this, if your brand is there on Wikipedia, is the fastest way to signal the brand as an entity. And of course, the other things, right, like your Instagram and all the other places. And finally, the visibility analytics, which is very crucial, where the companies need to track what kind of prompts do they appear, right? What kind of citations, whether the brand is featured in the answer or we are just being mentioned in the source. So these are all the things which together forms, the four pillars that, and the brands which other to this, they can significantly increase their probability of being selected by these AI systems. Now, search engineering is the discipline where we bring these pillars together and execute it for the brand. Now, this is where the things will also become more interesting, because the AI systems, traditionally how Google works is that Google has a Google bot, right? It crawls the web, it understands it. When it crawls a page, it understands what this page is about and what this website is about. So it saves that information, and then when it tries to rank, they have an algorithm which can rank based on your location, based on your previous history. It may tweak certain answers and it may rank a particular page. Now, these AI systems, they are not crawling the web and ranking the pages like how Google bots used to work. Instead, what they are doing is they are creating like a multi-layered knowledge system where first the internet itself, right? They are crawling the web, they are understanding the various topics, they are learning about it, the millions of pages, discussions, everything. And once they absorb or scrape that information, then comes the filtering, right? The filtering in terms of on the trustable nature of these sources, be it wiki or forums or research content and stuff. Now, from there, these knowledge signals are extracted, because first it crawls the internet completely. It just gets the complete knowledge. And then it looks into within this knowledge, which are all the trusted knowledge sources. And then in those knowledge sources, we call it as knowledge signals. They extract the brand mentions, the entities, the citations across the webs. Now, all these signals, they feed into the retrieval systems, because AI systems work based on retrievals, right? And finally, when a model is generating an answer, in that moment, there are two things that happen. If you're asking the model a definition, let's say, what is stock market, right? So the system is not going to search the web and then give you an answer, because it is already pre-trained and it knows the definition. It straight away answers you. Stock market, blah, blah, blah. It just answers all these things. But the moment you ask about, which is the best demat account, which is the best provider for demat account, I'm a beginner. If you add more context, then it triggers the live search and it gets the answers from the web, and then it gives you the final results. So the model in that instant only it's deciding which brand to appear in the response. It's not like it has a inventory and then it simply takes that and gives you the answer. It decides what answer it has to give you. And then if the signals of a brand is very strong, then it gets recommended straight away. For example, we all know about Zerodha, we all know about now Grow, Upstocks. You may have seen them on the ads, and your top level mindset is that, stock market, when a first time investment means, which are the brands that are coming up. So similarly, if the signal of a brand is strong, right, then naturally you will get recommended in these answers. Now, if these signals are weak, then obviously you're going to not be found. And this decision is what is happening before the user is visiting the website. That is the unfortunate thing, because all these ones that I mentioned you, the visitor is not yet clicked and visited a website. All these, they are doing it in the LLM system. So imagine how many places they will be. And most of you, if you're using ChatGPT, it's not like you ask one question and then you read the answer and you shut it down. What you do is you will ask a follow-up question. In fact, the systems itself are designed in a way, it will force you to continue the conversation, right? So in that continued conversation, how many times a brand gets featured again and again? And that means there is a very high chance that you have already converted your customer within the LLM system itself. Now, how do we operationalize this, right? So far we have looked at it from a theoretical perspective. Now, the next challenge usually comes when it comes to the operational way. So how do these companies can, actually manage this kind of AI visibility? So in practice, there are three capabilities which we are seeing emerging in the AI visibility phase. The first one itself is tracking. You need to first monitor how the AI systems are answering the key prompts, whether your brands are getting answered in those. For example, if you are in the example before where I showed you, the project management if you're a project management software company, right? So there are certain key prompts which you have to understand. If you're a product owner, if you're a engineer, you already know that this is what the problem that my product is solving, or this is the problem that I'm offering a service to solve. So you need to imagine yourself as your customer and then look at what is the customer going to ask about their persona, right? Basically, in this case, if I'm looking for a CRM for my company, I'll be looking at which is the best CRM for a startup with 100 employees, right? I may not necessarily want to read about SAP or Oracle or some bigger names, right? I want to look at a small, ERP or a small software for a small company. So I'll be adding more context, right? And my question is not going to be a simple question like best, project management or best CRM. It's going to be more context, right? So that's why first checking these prompts from your side. People will claim, how do you know the prompts and all? You don't have to look at what is the exact prompt the user is going to ask. Nobody can judge that because everybody will have their own style of nowadays voice is being used for the prompting. So you never know, right, what is the exact word to word people are going to use. However, the context of the prompt is something which you should know. If it can be like, some examples is like, if somebody is searching about which is the best CRM for a startup with 100 employees, right? Then I should be appearing. If somebody is searching about which is the best CRM for an for accounting firm or a lawyer firm or something like that, then I should be appearing. Like that, the prompt should be identified. This is the reason in the beginning of this webinar I was saying, you should first define what is your brand positioning. Because the moment your brand positioning is proper, once you know what exactly are you going to sell, what problem you are solving, then understanding these or imagining these prompts will become easier. And then checking yourself on these LLMs, whether your brand is appearing or not, that becomes very easier later for further tracking. So that is the first point. Second point is the analysis link, which is where the teams will understand, okay, now that we know what are all the prompts, now which competitors are dominating in these AI responses, which sources are being influenced in those responses. Now, once you define the prompt or understand the list of prompts, and then you're analyzing which competitors, which sources are being used. And then the third is improvising. This is where search engineering's core discipline takes into picture, the one that we discussed, right? The content infrastructure, authority, signals, and this and that. So this put together are the three layers where you can start immediately to start tracking and analyzing and implementing some of the, or improving rather, I would say, your AI discovery journey. Any brand, be it you're a small brand, big brand, it's like it's a equal level playing field, right? There is no specific advantage like one brand may get. So the more your brand is showing that visibility on a specific topic, the better. It's like how they used to say, I think this quote is, I love this quote from Bruce Lee. He doesn't fear a man who has 1,000 different variations, but he fears one guy who practiced one particular variation 1,000 times, right? So similarly, if your brand is positioned on one thing, make the best use of it. Forget about your competition. Just go very deep and create that, and that is the fastest way to get or improve your presence on these LLM systems. Now, why are these shifters, why these AI systems, when they start generating the answers, it's quite important that it becomes your buyer journey itself, right? Because we saw before that the search, people used to search, they visit multiple websites, then they research and then compare the brands. Now, if you look at it, everything gets done in one answer, right? This is how traditionally people used to work, right? When you want to choose a CRM for your business, you will go through a lot of comparisons. Or if you're a student, you want to buy a mobile or a laptop, you used to watch a review, you watch YouTube videos, comparisons, unboxing, then you will look at the reviews, you'll go to Amazon, you'll see the Amazon Flipkart, you'll see the reviews. And chances are, if you are spending a big money into that, your hard-earned money, and you are going to purchase, the moment that even if you see one or two bad reviews, you may ignore that product completely, right? So you do all these comparisons before you purchase a product or a service or whatever. But what has happened is we call it as a complete discovery compression, where everything is done within the answer. In just one question, in one prompt, it analyzes everything. It checks the mentions, it checks what are the pros and cons of this brand, and then who are the people using this more, and it gets you everything in one answer. So chances are, in one session itself, the user would have already decided which product they have to use. Let's say if you're a gym goer, or if you're passionate about athletics and other things, right? Which is the brand, what is the schedule, or what is the schedule that you have to follow for a 30 days, 90 days. Previously we used to do a lot of research, we used to do a lot of materials, we used to watch a lot of videos, Arnold's pumping iron, this and that, we watch everything. But now AI will give you a clear roadmap in terms of, okay, next 30 days, you want to build your forearms more, then here are this things. So, and a lot of times, if it's a deep research being done, and it also gives you the source also, that is, from where it has learned that, okay, these are all the way that schedule you have to follow. So the underlying thing is, you have to understand that this particular system, it's not to compete on Google. This is to shorten the journey, the discovery journey of the users across the board. So, we already looked at what companies have to do, right, in terms of the three layers. Now, expanding these three layers, step number one, right? Once you identify the prompts that buyers are going to ask on these LLM systems, and then we mentioned about analyzing the AI answers. So this is the step by step, right? Previously, we looked at the framework, track and then analyze and then look at search engineering, deploying that. So this is a slightly elongated version of what are the step one, step twos that you have to do. So first you look at the answers and then look at which brands are appearing, and then specifically start collecting which kind of sources are referenced in those answers. And next, map those sources. This is a very crucial step. Map the source to the answers, because chances are not every source a brand feature may not have got a chance to be in the answer. So map the source that are influencing those answers. That becomes very crucial, because you will know how that brand was positioned in that answer, and is it because of that AI has chosen this brand compared to the other brand in the answer. So because these sources are what shaping the AI models, right? You don't have to think about, AI is a black box, I don't know where they are consuming the information. Nobody knows that. But for your prompt, for your particular case, which sources AI systems are using for a live search? This specifically works for the bottom funnel, like specific decision oriented keywords. For example, if your question is about what is stock market, like the definition kind of example, chances are you may not see the sources, right? Because it is taking it from its own learning and it is giving you the answer. So the definition style questions, you don't have to track and waste your time, because it is not going to, you cannot influence that answer, right? However, when it comes to answers or prompts where the LLMs are triggering a live search, right? Now that is where you may get a chance to influence these answers. Now that is how you track all the sources, map it, and then see how you can strengthen these authority signals, by building the content specific to it and stuff like that. And then looking at the visibility tracking. So there are various tools available which can help you track whether your brand is mentioned for specific prompts, right? Even at FTA, we have a system called FTA visibility. So what it does is, over a period of time, it tracks, whether in the prompt your brand is visible or not, what kind of sources are available. And most importantly, it will also help you to look at what kind of personas are there, because in your product or your service, you may not offer for everybody. You may want to zero in on maybe startups, or you may only work with enterprises. So based on the different persona settings, you can track, where your brand is appearing or not. So, and this becomes like a feedback loop to your team and look at, okay, where or what more should we do as a company? Should we create 100 blogs about all the definitions, or should we do a solid industry study that will be very helpful, that a lot of people are going to cite your source? So this is something which your entire content strategy may also change based on the analysis which you've done if you follow this step-by-step routine. Now, like I've said before, the last 20 years, people who are winning were people who are ranking higher, affiliate websites, the comparison blogs. These are the ones where traditionally were the winners in the SEO world, right? But in the current scenario, right, the AI discovery is changing the objective. We saw that the discovery journey is getting compressed, right? Because AI is it's doing all the hard work for you. Now they see the answer and they are straight away going to make a decision. So the emerging way of being featured, it's no longer about just creating some comparison blogs and other things, but rather providing research-oriented resources in your website, industry expertise, showcasing your thought leadership, building communities. In fact, the brands which are building communities are going to be a clear winner over the next 4 or 5 years. This is not a big surprise. This is what brands are already trying to do. Specifically, this has become even more important now, and then becoming the knowledge hub for the topic which you want to be. So the brand opportunities here are doing original research, creating those expert content through these reports that you have generated, digital PR, and then authority signals. So when companies are, understanding this shift, and they are implementing these things in their companies, they will be getting an advantage compared to the others. Now, I'll also share you one quick case study about, now so far we have looked at theory. Now let's look at it practically. Have we seen it? Because we are one of the lucky few who have actually seen it working by deploying for one of the India's leading retail chain. So the key objective for them was their organic traffic was declining because it's a e-commerce website, right? It's so what happens is a lot of blogs or other things, they're not able to rank higher up, right? And AI answers, Google search results already showing AI mode, and the clicks are going down, kind of thing. That was the main problem area which they came in. So what we achieved for them was a significant growth in terms of the AI visibility. So whatever I mentioned before, right? It's all part of the implementation that we have done for this retail chain. So we looked at not just SEO as a separate, we looked at SEO, LLM as an integrated activity. And then we looked at continuous discovery in terms of first looking at what are all the key categories, right? And then whether those categories are getting found, and whether the content is LLM friendly, whether these LLMs can understand what their products are about. So likewise, we combined all these basics, and then we looked at creating a strategic pillar. Now we deployed 6 pillars framework for that brand. One is the programmatic way of SEO, which is quite popular in the e-commerce world. The second thing, the most important thing, is that we looked at optimizing their collection pages, and we started distributing those collection pages across the web, like Pinterest and other places. And we were also looking at conversational frequently asked questions, because when people are buying a product, they have a lot of questions on their mind. I hope you remember the discovery compression that is happening, right? Where people are comparing products, reviews and stuff. So we started understanding what question will a user have when they are buying this product. We started, listing out all sort of questions that users may have on the product. And then we started adding, it can be as simple as if somebody is buying a phone, about the camera, about whether it's a USB type C or which kind of battery pack they use, and stuff like that. So we started understanding all those questions. We started listing out all these questions in the product pages. So the moment this was done, a lot of traction started happening from a LLM perspective. And we were also looking at creating those industry-driven blogs, which were focused on buying a journey of, for example, during December, these products have sold more in our website. So those kind of research materials, is something which was also done. So all these things, what happened was it started creating a lot of traction in ChatGPT, because when the product page is talking about what all the common questions people have about that product, and then a straightforward answer. Because by the way, this e-commerce store, it's a marketplace, right? It's not a manufacturer driven e-commerce. So they had the luxury to talk both pros and cons about the product. So the moment all these were covered in the product pages and the reviews and stuff, naturally the discovery in ChatGPT started going higher, so much high that if you look at in ChatGPT answers, if a product is being listed, there will be a link to the website as well, right? So people started clicking on the product and they started visiting the website, so much so that the ChatGPT traffic was sky high. In fact, the website was getting about 1 million traffic, but 10%, more than 10% of the traffic was coming from ChatGPT, which is phenomenal, right? But usually it is about 1.5 to 2% only. But the moment we understood, okay, these are all the common questions people may have about a product, when we start generating such content, the visibility on those systems started increasing. And the biggest thing is that this traffic is like gold, because these people have already done their due diligence. So again, they are not going to come to your page and then again read all the features and this and that. They're not going to do that straight away. They know what is the product. Maybe they'll be looking at the how fast can you deliver this product, or how the packaging looks like. Then because there's always a difference between Amazon, Flipkart, and others. So so they started generating a lot of revenue through this ChatGPT traffic as well. So yes, so pretty much that's the overall way of how you can work or approach towards LLMs. It's a big subject, so I just just did a very small introduction in this session, but definitely there is a lot to discuss on this topic. So yeah, the floor is open for Q&A.
Thank you, Senthil, for taking us through a very enlightening session on the much needed topic on AI focus, the new marketing stack. And you have taken us through a masterclass kind of stuff. And we are really happy that we have managed to present it to our members and followers on one untouched topic, which is most looked after in today's world of brands and marketing and advertising. So let us just go through few questions on the chat page. There is the one from Udayavani Mariappan, and she just posted something like, were you able to see that? You can switch off this Q&A. Okay, yes, you have. Yes.
Yeah. I stopped sharing the screen. Yes, okay. Yes, I can see the chat now. Yes.
Yeah. So, proposing AEO for clients, and she was asking something about it. Do you have, can you enlighten us on a little bit on AEO?
Yeah, so that is nothing but answer engine optimization. So like I said, all these things are quite similar, right? Okay. Answer engine or LLM optimization or GEO. A lot of times these are used intermittently between one to other.
Okay.
But yeah, so one question which was asked is, one client is blocked multiple times due to the lack of authority and citations. Yes, that's exactly what we covered in the session also, right? Okay. Because now what is happening is the patience level has gone down. They are approaching LLMs as like how traditionally Google used to operate. So they are approaching LLMs also like that. It's not going to work that way. It's not like you build 10 backlinks and then your ranking improves, you track and all. That's not going to happen. This is slightly, it's a patience game. And also, this is good, right? This way, if somebody is really serious about their topic, they'll go very deep into it rather than surface scanning, right? Like master of all. That's not going to happen, right? So this gives the way. So that's why probably some clients, they are all, unfortunately some people are also wasting a lot of money. They're thinking that it's a quick win kind of a thing, but it's not. It needs patience. So that's the thing. It's purely because of the lack of authority and
You
citations.
mean to say that do not replicate the dark web SEO kind of activities with LLMs, because LLMs are not SEO, a search engine. They are more intelligent, and they can think and act. So you can't do the same, hoogly that you played with the search engine, which is slightly less intelligent in terms of the tech. That's what you're trying to say. Okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
right.
Because this is hyper customization, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Google used to be slightly customized as well based on your history.
Yes.
Because if you're logged into Google, your answer may be slightly, it may bias towards your recent websites that you visited. But if you are in incognito mode, the list may be different, even in traditional SEO.
Okay.
But this is a different ball game altogether. Even the same question you ask tomorrow, the answer may be slightly different based on your other conversations you mentioned. It may change. Suppose you're interacting saying that I am now in Bangalore. Maybe previously you were interacting with in Chennai, and then you moved to Bangalore. Then you were discussing about I moved to Bangalore, which is the best internet for my new home. And then when you ask a different question, which is the best restaurant, it will tell you about Bangalore rather than about Chennai. Same question. You didn't mention you are in Chennai, Bangalore, but it already knows about you. It keeps a track, and that is how best experience can be given. So that's why we are saying it as a black box. I think the brand should be clear that whether they have patience and then get into it. Otherwise, don't enter it like a 2 month, 3 month pilot. That's not. You may end up disappointed so much so that you may even leave the thing completely, thinking that it's all spam. But then other people who are patiently doing it may win in the long run. Yeah.
So basically, every prompt or a question that you are feeding to the AI platform is a learning code that you are feeding to them, where the machine learns from you while it helps you with the answers. It also gets to learn from the prompts that you are feeding. So
Exactly.
that's how it works. So that's good.
That's right.
So on a layman note, I have asked one question. How can a CMO or an advertising professional transform himself into an AI ready to inculcate and tech engineering thinking in his professional ecosystem? Because during the conversation, you said that a CMO should switch from a business analytical mindset or an MBA kind of thought. From there, you need to switch to an engineering thinking, so tech stack. So,
Yes.
how that someone who's already a CMO or a mid level or a senior level advertising professional, what he has to do to transform himself into an AI ready?
Yeah, yeah, sure, Manoj. In fact, that's a great question. So right now we are living in a world where you don't need deep technical expertise as well, right? Because these because you may have seen a lot of people are vibe coding. They are generating tools through these systems, right? So what we in your question, it's actually a brilliant way because you are a CMO and then you wanted to understand or get into the tech engineering way of thinking, right? So the engineering way of thinking, it's pretty simple where we follow a specific process, like a specific flow. Let's take in case of agency like us, right? People think AI enabled agency means using ChatGPT. No, it's not, right? Using ChatGPT, everybody is going to do. But systems thinking is that you need to have an SOP. Now, based on that SOP, whether certain things can be automated or not. So those are all the things. So as a marketer, if you are let's say you are a brand professional, you will already have a list of things to do, right? How you approach a brand refresh. You will first do interviews with your key stakeholders. You interview your customers. What is their brand perception? And then there are a lot of step by step which you will be using. So in those step by step, you can look at where these kind of AI systems can be deployed. For example, if you have a large data and you want to do a quick analysis on it, you use AI systems. So that is how you should approach it rather than simply using AI as the source kind of a thing. right? So that is where the engineering thinking, because in engineering, they don't just build the building just like that, right? They go step by step. First, the foundation. What is the SOP for that foundation? And it is future ready also. And then the various, pillars and other things. So likewise, in marketing as a branding, it's just the same, but don't look at whether your entire work is going to be automated. Rather, look at where you can engineer certain processes into automation, and then certain other things still be in your brain. So that is why this is a human plus AI thing. It's actually a fantastic thing. Imagine before, now if you can even instruct ChatGPT to behave like an Einstein, and then it will guide you. Also, imagine those things we never had before, right? We used to read for everything. Now, if you instruct the system and mention it that, hey, you are going to give me, even now people are using it for things like Q&A, right? They're asking, give me 10 questions about SEO. I'll answer, you rate me about it. So people are using it in multiple different personas. This is like truly a breakthrough moment that is happening. The only difference is lazy people are approaching it like everything let it do kind of a thing. That is where they are falling. But people who are actually using it in a thinking with the brain way, they are actually, it's like they have the world in their hands. That's why they are saying the next billionaire will be a one-person company.
Interesting. We are going to witness that also. Like you said, so integrating an AI into a CRM to generate the outcomes or analytical aspects, which we used to take a lot of time. Now, just by integrating it, you can give many analytical aspects on a tip. That is the kind of so you just need to identify the right platform to integrate with where your area of work. That's it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
right platform and also the right model to use. For example, I wouldn't be using ChatGPT for any data analytics models, data analytics related tasks. In that, Claude is the best when it comes to data analytics. So if in a CRM you are going to do a projection of how much revenue you're going to generate, those forecast modelings are better in Claude compared to ChatGPT. Now, Gemini it's another case. It's a completely different kind of use cases. So likewise, every model has its own advantages and disadvantages. For example, for the academia, they can prefer to use Perplexity, the research-oriented people. Their Perplexity excels completely out of compared to ChatGPT or Claude. So likewise, so this also could feed back to the CMO question, where it's not only understanding where you automate, but which model you want to use for specific use case within your day-to-day work. Yeah.
In terms of cloud being used in the Iran war, how exactly it worked? Can you just short idea make it more interesting?
Yeah, obviously Anthropic had, so this is where the forecasting data modeling system comes into picture, because they know the multiple places. See, it's a huge data, right? You need to be very accurate because you have only one chance, hit or miss kind of a thing. So pinpoint accuracy, it was able to predict or understand by analyzing all the data points. It was able to pinpoint on where exactly, certain
So
people
the
are placed.
US, team at the back end were able to use Claude AI to pinpoint the strike point, and they managed to do it successfully. That's what.
So we did it. And so much so that next they wanted a full access, unrestricted access, which they Anthropic didn't want to
Right.
do. So they exited and immediately OpenAI went in. But we all know fundamentally as a user, we know Anthropic is the best when it comes to data modeling and forecast modelings and stuff. So it's like basically industry itself is like splitting in a way, right? Gemini it can do everything because it has the Google ecosystem. It has access to YouTube, all these things. ChatGPT cannot access YouTube, but Gemini can. So they have the vast information available on one side, and then thinking models is where Claude brings in. Research model, Perplexity. ChatGPT is more people pleaser model. ChatGPT will never yell at you. Whatever you say, it will give you. And also, since it's a people pleaser, it's also a problem because there is one funny meme where a surgery would have been done, left kidney would have been done, and then it will say, "Hey, my problem is on right kidney." Then it will say, "Oh, sorry,
I
we'll
operated on
do
the left.
Right. So if that is the case, then so that's why this model is we should not use it for key decision making. You use ChatGPT for regular research work and then planning some schedule, this and that. But if you're really serious, you're making a business decision, then you need to probably use two, three models together, and together you find that's where the human brain comes in the picture. And that's why this human brain is never going to be replaced. The AGI, whatever they are saying, it's not going to replace for sure.
Great. So there is this one. We will keep my question away. We will go move into Pawan. How to track AI visibility? Are there any software, or is the tool tracked by AI or AI agent, or has to be tracked manually? Something is asking.
Yeah, that's a great question. In fact, during my presentation, I did cover a bit about AI visibility tool that we have, FTA visibility. But there are a lot of tools available in the market, right? Like Profound, Peak, AI, SEMrush, Ahrefs. There are a lot of those players are available. The only challenge is that they are approaching tracking like keyword tracking. Like you add a keyword, you track the rankings in traditional SEO. They are approaching it like that, but it is not working in that way because, like I said, AI is already looking at your history. It's looking at your persona. Based on that only, it is answering. It knows that you like more. Let's say you like more Indian brands only, so it will give you answers specific to that, tailor-made towards it. It doesn't want to give you a different thing. So that persona is very important. So that's why we have created a patented persona modeling itself into our visibility tool. So basically,
FTA Global has created.
yes, we have created that. So this visibility tool, what it does is we will be feeding in and it will give us, okay, these are all the personas. Your persona lives in Bangalore. They are doing this. They are a startup founder, blah, blah, blah. Like that, it create the entire persona. And from there, it tracks the various prompts and it will give you a difference also in terms of how the same prompt through different personas, where you are present and not present. So like that we're doing. So we have onboarded. So this is only an enterprise only version because it consumes a lot of this thing. It's not like a simple, tracker. This is something which anybody can do. Adding a prompt and then tracking is something which you can wipe code it. But persona based is something which needs a lot of engineering gets into it. So currently we are working with enterprises like HP for their entire AI laptops. They're using our system for tracking that and few other brands. Reliance Digital, they are using us and few other brands. So we are also deploying a few other features also. But again, this is an enterprise only. So I'm not sure Pavan is from the enterprise side, but this is an enterprise only thing. It's not available for the general public. Yeah.
Okay. Another one from Udayavani. Is there any trending or AI compatible website building model than the traditional wireframes? Keeping it minimal will help.
Yeah. See, as of now, there are a lot of white coded applications that claim to be like that, like they generate websites on the fly. But one surprising thing is that recently Google has got one patent where Google itself is going to create custom pages on behalf of you, and it is going to present to the users. So yes, there are a lot of new models that are coming up, but nothing like a traditional wireframe that you do, the traditional process of wireframing and then converting it into HTML and then design and then HTML, PSD, HTML. So I think that is something maybe there for a while, but as of now, I think there are few open source models available which people are using for the same. Yeah, but I cannot pinpoint on one because people are now building on the fly, like Lovable, and they're building apps on the fly. So that's the thing. But at least for next few months, this traditional is going to be there. Yeah.
Few months, make a note of it. In a fast changing tech. So coming back to my question, based on your presentation, I understood that the LLMs are also acting like the crawlers of the SEO, search engine.
Yeah.
So naturally, making your content or platform available for the LLMs to crawl through your website or your content is important to get the featured in the AI discoverability, Like earlier it is search, Google search, like that. Now it is get yourself featured in AI. Discoverability is the mantra that everyone, or brands, marketers, publishers, platforms, everyone is going to work. So in this scenario, we could see a lot of litigations happening where people are stopping AI from, LLMs learning or giving any research results and other things. So do you think it is they are losing out on getting featured in the AI discoverability, or harming themselves by doing so, acting against those AI platforms like ChatGPT or others?
No, yeah, that's actually a great question, Manat. So the thing is, it's a double-edged sword, right? First thing is, first of all, taking a step back, these LLM systems, they don't behave like Googlebot, right? Googlebot, what it does is it goes through your HTML, it collects everything, it extracts the content, and then it does it away. But LLMs, they are learning from your website, basically. They are extracting only the text. They are not looking at your design, usability, they're not looking any of that. They are just hungry for content from your side. That's it. They want unrestricted content. And the more content you're giving, the better. Now, if you're a publisher, I don't think you'll be happy about it, because they are not going to refer. Say, for example, this question which you asked about how Anthropic was used by the US Army. You would have done a very detailed research and created a very detailed article on the website. And then LLM is going to mention everything inside that, then people are not going to click and come. So as a publisher, you will be unhappy, because as a publisher, you need more people visiting. Then only more
Traffic.
ad could be created. But in that segment, it is still a bit of a trouble in the publishing world, right? But when it comes to businesses, you don't lose anything, because these LLMs, like I said, Google still controls, more than, in India, it is 97%. So, still, if you're allowing Google bots and then LLM, it's an additional discovery layer only. So you don't get this thing to lose. Where people are having issue is people who are looking at traffic as their key metric. Those are the ones. So much so that businesses also, traditionally, marketers are used to report on to the sales or to the management that marketing has grown the website from 1 million traffic to 2 million traffic. Proudly they show that data. But those proud moments are gone, because you cannot expect such spikes in traffic unless you are going viral. And viral as a definition itself is not, you cannot just like that say, I'll create a viral content, right? People tend to say, create a viral video. What is viral video, right? There is nothing. Even a simple mobile video may go viral, or a high quality may not even go viral. We don't know. So, the fundamental thing in your question is that depending on your brand, if you are a B2B, allowing it is not a problem. If you are an e-commerce also, allowing it is not a problem. We have shown one case study as well, right? The more and ChatGPT is referring traffic, so it's continuously, it will improve further. And that's the thing. In fact, if you draw a comparison, Google is also sending less traffic. In fact, 50% of Google searches, they don't click on the results. So they are getting the answer directly, which is fine, right? It's just the definition kind of content. Somebody is searching about what is stock market. You don't expect that person to come to your website and do business with you. That person is just learning something. But the same person, if he's talking about which is the best demat account I should open, that is a bottom funnel keyword, which is apt. And their answer, it'll be best if you get featured. So the businesses should, so that's why the metrics also will change. So no longer you will see bigger jumps in traffic and stuff, but rather you will see more revenue focused impact. So whether marketing impacted the revenue. And there only these tools like AI visibility will come into picture, because like I said before, the influence is happening before the click in the LLMs. So it is very important you should know where you are getting featured, so that may affect your revenue indirectly.
Okay. Finally, there is a thought coincidence between me and Pawan. So he's asking that possible that soon we will see paid AI visibility like paid PR. I'm asking, can we imagine a scenario, search engine marketing being replaced or complemented by PEM? I coined this word, prompt engineering marketing.
No, that's a good one, Manat. Yeah, so definitely they have already started doing it. So ChatGPT OpenAI openly announced that they'll be running ads and stuff. In fact, they got mocked by Anthropic in the advertisements also. In the Super Bowl ads, they were mocking ChatGPT that they're running ads and that. See, but sooner or later they have to do it. How will they monetize it, right? There is currently for all these LLM models, the only monetization way is the subscriptions, right? But the subscription also will go up now that with all the amount of energy it consumes, this and that. So it's going to go up only. So they will definitely look for other models, but we have to wait and see. But definitely, OpenAI has already called the shots on it that they are going to try. In fact, we have started submitting some of the forms for on behalf of our clients for the same. But in India, I don't think it's still available. We need to check that.
So can we see a day when prompt engineering marketing, coming into effect like the SEM?
Absolutely, because everything is on prompt engineering only. If you are doing any automations, anything, and a good prompt engineering is what is going to win. So yeah, I think this could be the future, which is not too futuristic. I would say probably in the next 12 months you may see that happening. In fact, one quick thing is that most of the people we are hiring now, in part of the interviews itself, we are doing the prompt engineering tests in terms of how they are prompting. Because whether you are doing video production through AI or whatever it is, a correct prompt is needed. So, yeah.
Again, Devani has asked, which is like very difficult for us to explain. So she's just passing a comment on the viral content requirement. That okay. So anyhow, Senthil, thank you so much. It was a very enlightening and much needed session for our followers and members of the Madras Advertising Club through the Spark, which is alias Inside View webinar series. We have been bringing in versatile set of experts to cover various evolving world of advertising. And today it happened to be another day where we have gone through deep into the new marketing stacks, where you just took us into how from Google to ChatGPT, the traditional search to the AI discovery journey has unfolded in today's world. And through the process, we got to learn the new visibility gap, that how AI discovery impacts the traffic and the revenue. You have briefed us about it, and SEO to search engineering stack with multiple capabilities. So how brands need to list out their SEO strategy to adapting the discoverability, AI discoverability strategy. And you have got us through, and even you briefed us about the signals that shape AI answers, the search engineering flywheel, and how brands get featured in AI discovery, and how many are missing out on being visible in AI answers. Finally, the four pillars of AI visibility, how AI system choose brands, and operationalizing AI visibility, and how shift from search engine to AI discovery influence the consumer journey. So all that we have gone through today. So thanks to you for the exhaustive session and enlightening us. It was a very learning. On behalf of the Advertising Club Madras and the members, I thank you so much, Senthil Kumar Hariram from FTA Global. Guys, if you would like to take it further, please you can reach him.
Sure. Yeah.
And we will be help you to help. We will help you to connect with him. And on behalf of the club and others, I would like to thank the team from the Madras Ad Club, Vaishnavi and others who has coordinated this, and our sponsors who have been associated with this, Dinamalar and Peps Mattress, who are our annual sponsors for many other events, and Presto, the design partner who has been putting up very good designs, and myself, Media News for You, playing the catalyst role in enhancing the reach to the community, and to all others who are being part of it. It's a wonderful. Hope this session was very useful to you all. We will assure you that in a fortnight's time, we will reach out to you with another expert and a wonderful topic. Senthil has shared his email ID and his contact over the chat. You guys can copy it and take it forward. Senthil at FTA Global.in, his email ID, and 9952967570 is his mobile to take it forward. And do my best wishes to all of you, and looking forward to another wonderful session. Thank you, Senthil, once again on behalf of Hat Club Madras. Looking forward to engaging you in another thought leadership forum very soon. Thank you all. Have a nice weekend. Pleasure interacting with you, hosting you. Goodbye. Signing off. This is
Bye.
Umar.
Thank you. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.